Good morning and welcome back to the show. So, on this episode of Small Project Alert, we're going to be installing some fringe. I haven't done a fringe dress in quite a while, so I am a little rusty, but I got the technique down, so no worries about that. I found some fringe in the other main video. I'll throw that clip maybe over here somewhere. So let me move. Throw that clip over there somewhere. And I found some really long fringe, but I don't think that we're gonna go with the long fringe. I think the fringe that we got are about maybe 8 inches. Let's grab one and see. Because I put them out like you saw in the video, and I didn't measure them though. Oh no, that's really short. These are like 10. Yeah, it's about 10 inches. So what we're going to do is just completely go heavy to light and fade up in density, and then once I get down to the 2 strands and the 1 strands, I'm gonna fill it in here with some jet stones. But so far the dress is coming together nicely, and all I need to do now is that black fade down and my fringe. So let's get to it. So I started the fringe. I'm not all the way up. This is my stack of 6. I'm gonna move into the size 3s, which are half the size of this, and then up into 2s and into 1s. But it's coming together faster than I thought it would. Welcome back to the show. So let me show you what I got done so far. So of course I got all of the bodice done, and I finished the top layer of my single pieces of fringe, if you can see that. So it went from 1 piece down to the 2 pieces, down to the 4 pieces, down to the full 6 pieces of fringe all the way at the bottom. But unluckily for me, I still got the whole backside to do. It shouldn't take that long now that I got the kind of swing of things back into it. And then after I finish the fringe, I'm gonna go in and fade the colored jet stones from this light for this dark cyan all the way maybe to about here. It should look good. It should look good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But the dress is so pretty. So the first thing you want to do is grab your stack, put them over your thigh, right here. And then you want to go in about 1.5 inches. So depending on how long your fringe is, you're going to want to go up that same amount of space, about 1.5 inches up and 1.5 inches apart. I'm doing the fringe pretty good, tedious. Good morning. Very tedious because, of course, just like stunning, you have to do it one by one. Now, in some cases, you can just do a roll fringe like this. Alright, we're doing individuals today. So we're going to make all the way around, and that will be the first. Take your time, move slowly, so you don't have to worry about anything slipping down. Press and hold for about 5 seconds, and it should be secure. I have a fan running over on my desk. Let me show you. So you can see it in the corner over there. You can make sure that everything dries in good time. But it's really not hard. It's not hard to do fringe at all. It's just very tedious, time consuming. You could literally spend 8 hours fringing a dress, depending on how much fringe. You want to use the bigger ones on the bottom because you want it to give the most coverage. And then you lighten up as you go up. Alright, so this last one here is the end of our first row. That's the first row. Now, what we're going to do is go in the intersections right in between each one, about 1 inch up in each one. All right, so I got the second row done for you already. That is what it's looking like. Sorry if the sound was low in the first couple of scenes. I completely forgot I have a lapel mic and I need to use that for situations like this, but hopefully the sound is good for you now. So I got the second row of fringe done, and for the third row, it's a little tricky, but you can get it. So what we're going to do is try to finagle into the intersections to the left. So we're going to go that same 1 inch up, but we're going to go to all of the intersections to the left. And then in the fourth row, we're going to go to the intersections to the right, trying to fit it in between those 2 layers right there. So let's do that third row and we can do it together. All right, so I have the third row done. You see how the higher points are connected to the left side of where I added all of the fringe. We're going to do the fourth row together because I thought I was recording when I was doing the third row, but I was not. So let me remember to press record on this fourth row so we can do that together right now. And what it is everything to the right of all of the intersections. So where you see those gaps here that are on the right side, that's what we're going to do. All right, so for this fourth row, like I said, we're going to go to the right side of the intersections. In the video, I'll try to make sure to zoom in on specific areas so you can see exactly what I mean when I say on the right side. So this one would go here. Let me hold that in place for that 5 seconds and prep the other piece. So as far as uniformity, the 1 inch above the next row or the bottom row is about the only uniformity you need, just to make sure that they're evenly spaced above each other. And so we're going to take these 6 pieces, maybe to this line here. What is that? Would that be about 8 inches up? And then we're going to transition into the 4 pieces. Same pattern, just different sizes of fringe, because the 6 should give me just enough coverage for what I'm trying to do, which is cover this bottom row of sew on fringe. So tedious, so time consuming, but the final product is always so pretty. It just takes a world full of time. So when you see your fringe sliding, it's for one of 2 reasons. You didn't press it down for long enough, or you used too much glue. So let me show you the proper amount of glue to use. Just a nice little dollop on the tip, and press it down for that 5 seconds. You absolutely need that press down time. All right, so that is the end of row 4. Now we're going to transition into the 4 strands. Now let me show you the coverage that those 6 strands gave the bottom of the dress. So those 6 strands did a good job covering the bottom layer of the sew on fringe. So now we're going to go in with the size 4s and just fade up in density. But it's coming out good so far. Let me show you the front again. So this is what it's going to look like. It's not just like completely covered, but it's just enough coverage to where it still has movement. It doesn't make the dress stiff, and I like that. So let's get back to it with row 5, which is really row 1 of the 4 strand fringe pieces. So once I get into the smaller pieces of fringe, you have a little more liberty to adding the glue to the dress and then just sticking them on as if you would a stone. So we're still gonna go from the left side with my glue parts, and then in the next row we'll go to the right. So it would be maybe a ½ inch of a glue line, 1 inch above the last row, but facing the left side of the last row fringe you just did. So the last row was to the right, so we're going to the left. ½ inch piece of glue on a line straight up, and what you're looking for is any openings, and that is where you want to put your glue, because that's where you want the fringe to sit. And then just stick it hold for 5 seconds, and go to the next one. This glue is E6000 and it gets tacky really quick, especially if you have a fan on, and I do. So this method, you gotta move kind of quick, but the quickness is what makes this part of the dress go faster. But you still want to press for those 5 seconds. You always want to press for those 5 seconds until you get into the single pieces. Once you get into the pieces that are just one piece of fringe, the glue will hold it instantly. Alright, so this is the end of that first row, and we're just going to go right in to the left side, to the right side. Yes. The last row of 6 was to the right, so this first row of 4 is to the left, and this next row of 4 will be to the right. Reminds me of Beyonce. Bad to the left. Something to the right. Don't come for me for not knowing Beyonce's lyrics. We're going to the right now. And you want to make sure your placement is in between the intersection. Always want to make sure it's in between the intersection. Morning.
Good morning, ladies. Morning. Oh, that's pretty, Jess.
Thank you.
What is this?
Alright, so that is the left and the right first 2 rows of the size 4 pieces. I'm just going to go right on in and keep using the size 4 up until I get, where's my chalk? Up until I get probably to about right here. So, just want to give you a guideline. So that is where we're going with it. I'm just going to continue to move up, and up. So I'll be back once I get to this line, and then we can transition into the size 3s and the size 2s. All right, so I have brung my size 4s up to this chalk line, and I think instead of the size 3, I think we're just going to jump right into the size 2 and start bleeding it up into the size 1s of the fringe. But I do need to finish this section here, so we can do that together in the size 4. So you just want to place your blue lines in the intersection. Try not to get anything right above the other one, just so that they all stand out on their own. Alright, so let's get into this here. And the way that I did it, I know you can see the glue lines are in a zigzag pattern. That's what you want to do. And that way you don't place another piece of fringe on top of the other. So you see these two here. This glue line would place that fringe right between those two. See? And then you see these two here. This glue line will place this piece of fringe right in between those two. And that is the goal for every piece of fringe that you do. You don't want to put anything right over the next or the last. Always in between, and being in between kind of keeps everything nice and covered. And I am doing it at an angle so you guys can see better than me, honestly. So if I do it over top, I'll just go in and make the space and fill that space in. But for the most part, I think I got it. Alright, so that is the end of the size 4. You see I have a space right here open. So we're just going to go, I'll put one right here and fill that in. Two spaces. Alright, so let's check this out. Full coverage. Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna go into the size 2. So I got a nice little stack here of size 2. I don't even think I'm going to use all of these. This is probably about 100. I might use 50. But we're going to take these size 2s, maybe about here, about maybe a millimeter under the very last of these cyan stones. So we're going to bring the size 2 just in that little area. What is that? 3 inches. And we're going to fill that in. Same zigzag pattern as you can see. Left side first, and then we'll go back in with the right. So I went ahead and added my glue lines to the left all the way down and around. Now let's apply. Okay. Maybe I should have wiped this chalk line before I started my 2 strands, but I'll go back in and wipe it down with some velvet. It's because velvet is very fibrous and picks up the chalk really easy. I like to make my glue lines maybe about a half an inch down and kind of mold some of the top of the fringe that's under the glue into the fabric. What I mean is, so each one of the fringe has a glue topper that's keeping the two pieces together. So, and that is about a half an inch long itself. So what I do is kind of place it on top of my glue and then smooth down the loose fringe right on top. Just more security. Alright, so that is the first row of the size 2, and we're just going to jump right into the next row and bring it up to this chalk line. But before I do that, here's my piece of velvet. I'm just going to go in between and try to clean up this chalk line. I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm really just wiping in between the fringe to get that chalk line to disappear. I mean, it's not 100% disappearing, but it's fine because I'm gonna put some stones under the fringe. I won't do that in this part of the video because, or in this video, because this video is mostly about learning how to apply your fringe. But if you watch the full creation video that goes with this dress, you'll see me stoning under the fringe, and you can check that out. I also have a dilemma video. Well, no, the dilemma was for a different dress, but I also have dilemma videos that you can watch where you can see how I made a mistake, or something happened, or the dress came back and I needed to do something else to it. Alright, so chalk line relatively gone. Now let's go back into this. For this last section of the 2 strands, I'll do the glue lines with you so you can see. You see how in the front right here is where the 2 lines stop and the one singular pieces start. So we're just going to take the 2 lines all the way up to that line in a zigzag pattern, one up, one down. Alright, so we'll do this little section right here and then add more glue. So I saw some openings here and here, so I'm just going to add a 2 string into those little sections to close that up. Once I start to get to the top, I like to make my glue line a little longer than that half an inch for more security, just because they're so light. I just want to make sure that they are secure, and they are. It's really just only for my own personal thoughts. You don't have to do that, but more glue, it's always security, but not so much that it will make your fringe slide. You don't want to put that much glue. You want just enough where the glue line can hide behind the fringe and you won't be able to tell what's holding it on. Alright, so I finished my size 2s up to the line. I'm going to use my velvet to get rid of this line. And then we're going to go in with the size 1s. And then I want to take you to the back and kind of show you some of the other fringes so you can kind of get a better idea of just how the fringe is applied and the duality of fringe, where it really can do so many different things to bring just an extra zhuzh up to your garment. But I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Alright, so let's go into the single pieces and then this part of the video will be done. And I like to always kind of dab going up. I don't know if it makes a difference going down. I just like to dab going up. Kind of like when you do your facial routines and you're massaging the stuff into your skin, you always want to go up. I'm just muscle memory. Dab up. Alright, so that's done. Let me put in some glue and we can start installing the single pieces. So I don't know what you use to do your glue, but I use a syringe like this. And I like to always use a new topper when I'm doing the single ones just because I don't want so much glue to come out. So let me grab a new topper. Looks just like this, tiny at the top. And then I do a full 1-inch line going straight down. So as you see, what I'm doing is going into the cyan all the way up, almost to this line here. And you want to make sure that you completely cover your glue line with the fringe, the whole 1 inch. And that is how you make it look like it's fading in density. Because technically you're still adding the same amount of fringe that you did in your 1 inch increments from bottom to top, but because you're using smaller pieces, it gives the illusion of you fading in density. And that is the look you want to go for, or at least that's the look that we like to go for here. There's some ladies who do amazing fringe jobs. I'll show you some of their work in the back. Alright, so that is that section. Now we're just going to keep on going. All right, that is that section done. I'm just gonna keep on going until it's done all the way. But I want you to see it up close really quick. All right, you see the individual pieces, how they just kind of fade into the top. That is the look we're going for. Just very thin, very sporadic at the top, because again, we're gonna stone some jets. We're gonna add some jet stone. Well, I'm going to add some jet stones into this regular cyan and down into the fringe. So for these last 20 pieces, they just go right here on this hip, and then this master class of learning how to add your fringe, increase density, decrease your density, will be done. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate your time. I'll try to speed up some parts of the video, hence the reason why I just did some off camera. That's the exact same thing. I don't think you guys just want to literally watch me apply every single piece of fringe. But if you do, let me know in the chat. And for the next time I do something like maybe some bugles, I can keep the video 100% of me adding to the garment. But for the most part, this is done. The very first time I did fringe, I was so overwhelmed. But once you do it enough, it turns into an art, and you learn the tricks of the trade and how to do things faster, how to make cute little shortcuts. We didn't do any shortcuts in this video, but there's other things that you can learn how to do with your fringe. You can make accessories with them. Like, I don't know if you can see on this wall behind me, behind the dress, there's some bolo ties made with fringe here, here, for a country western dress that I did about a year ago. And those were extra. I had just made some samples. But for the most part, fringe is a really fun medium to use on your dress, just to give it an extra pop of movement, you know? It's a dance floor dress. You always want to give it an element of movement. All right, so let me add two more. One here and one here. And maybe one here for the front. And then this dress will be done with the fringe. And all I need to do now is add my jet stones to fade down into the fringe. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. Nice. Done and done. Did you catch the masterclass I just did on how to install this fringe? If you didn't, I put it in a separate video. Make sure you go and watch that if you want to learn exactly how I got this density to be so beautiful on the fringe of this dress. But no worries, I'm going to fade jet into this bodice with the torso of this dress right now, and this dress will be done. But that masterclass is very informative, so make sure that you go and check that out. Now let's get back to stoning. All right, talented ladies. So I got my back done, I added all of the jet flatbacks within the fringe. As you can see, the shake. So you can see it's not all the way down, but just enough to where she shakes up top. You can see, I love it. Now we're gonna go to the front and do the same, starting with the size 30s, and I'll bring you along the ride. So when you're stoning under the fringe, you want to stone it with the dress on the mannequin straight up, because you want all of the stones to fall, or the fringe to fall exactly where it normally would. And if you try to lay it down into it, it could be a little bulky. So you want to just stone the bigger stones, which are these 30s, with it on the mannequin standing up. And then once you get into the smaller stones, you can lay it down and fill it in. But for the most part, make sure that when you're stoning under the fringe, you stone it standing up. All right, my masterclass ladies, thank you so much for watching. I do realize that the video was vertical the entire time, and I apologize for that. I didn't realize it until I realized it, and we were already too deep in it. So this is what the dress is looking like with the sprinkle under the fringe. As you can see, all the way around. This is the beautiful side of fringe that we did. As you can see, it has great movement still, and it flows right out of those stones. Let me let you get into it. It's gorgeous. So I did promise you a view at some of the other ways that we use fringe here. This is one. This is stacked. So as you can see, it's just small pieces that are sewn on. We like to call these the stacks. And it's just stacked up. Now here on the shoulder, there's a sew-on piece, but the rest of them are just stacked and stoned at the top. Here's another example in a blue where we mixed bugles and fringe. So it's sewn on there. We put the bugles on top. At the bottom here, there's some singular pieces where they added a stone on top. So you can really use fringe in different kind of mediums. These are singular just to cover the stone, the sew-on level. See how the sew-on pieces here, and then just very lightly to cover that. There's so many different. Look through the rainbow and see if there's any more fringe dresses. There's a bugle dress. Well, that's a bugle skirt. But essentially, doing bugles, which are the beads, is the same exact technique. You want to go heavy to cover this bottom line. There will be no sew-on line, but you want to cover the bottom line of the skirt and have your bugles fall right on top of that. For this one here, they use just the bugles to cover the sew-on line of fringe here. Like that. And for this one, this is a vintage, and they used just pieces, piece by piece, like I just did. So fringe is a very versatile medium to use when you're working on just an extra embellishment to make your dresses pop out even more, and especially when you have a flat bottom and you not behind, but a flat bottom to your skirt. And you want to give it some movement. I love it. I love the way that this came out. This dress is amazing. Thank you so much for watching this very first masterclass on fringe. I promise the next masterclass I will do it horizontally, and I will remember. Also, let me apologize for the first few scenes of me not using my lapel mic. Like I said, one of my beautiful viewers sent me a Cash App, so I was able to buy the lapel mic. So use it, Tiffany. I forget sometimes, but everything is done and I love it. Now, let me shoot the ending scenes for this dress for the main video, which is the creation video of the entire dress along with this beautiful fringe. How many times have I said it already? Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.